You would actually feel the controller like just vibrate in your hand, and it's like, oh, is the PS4 worth getting in 2024? Let's watch a video and find out together. Should you buy the PS4 in 2024?
Starting off with the outside of this particular console, it had a pretty
Yes.
good design. I was a big fan of this console once again when it first came out.
So the design of the PS4, I would say, is it's pretty good. I still think the PS3 looks better, but it was pretty boxy actually, so it wasn't too
And I
bad.
really like the design of this console. It's really weird because when I first saw this, the PS4 back in I think the first time I saw it was 2014 or 2013. It came out in 2013, but I don't think I saw it until 2014. I didn't like it. I mean, I love I actually like the design of this thing so much, and I was actually thinking to myself like,
Yeah, when it first came out, my first thoughts were like, "Ooh, this looks nice. It looks different." Um, if you put the PS3 and the PS4 side by side, you could be you could pick and choose. If the PS4 had the same look as the PS3, I don't think people would mind that much, if I'm being honest.
like how much better could Sony do than this console? Like this design is kind of timeless in a way. I actually like the Xbox One S probably a little bit more done than this one, but this console was just a beautiful looking console in so many different ways. On the front, you were getting this matte type of texture on one side.
Yeah, so if you look here on the PS4, there was a light on it, so that was useful. Um, it had a little gap in the middle, so it did look alright. I won't fault it. It was a lot bigger, but it I think the PS4 was designed to look like it fits better inside a TV display case or like next to your monitor. Like it's designed to look like a mini computer. So it doesn't look out of place. The Xbox was looked a lot more like a PC because it basically is a PC, just playing games on it. So actually, no, the hardware is more like a PC than the PlayStation. But yeah, the design of this, it's okay. It's okay. I'll leave it there. Let's go.
Super crazy, which was super nice. I didn't mind that. It was very, really, really cool. And then you were getting that eject button as well on the top as well, or on the back on the front as well, which was really, really cool. On the sides, you weren't really getting anything super crazy, which was super nice. I didn't mind that. It was a very minimalistic looking console. But on the back side, you were getting the different port selection that you were basically offered. So you were essentially getting your optical out if you wanted to use that, your Ethernet port, an auxiliary port, and an HDMI port, as well as your AC adapter. So that was some really
This is the exact same as the PlayStation 3. So, in terms of ports, there wasn't really a big upgrade or change in there. Maybe it went from USB 2 to USB 3, even 3.1. I'm not too sure on the later units, like the PS4 Slim or something like that. But yeah, it's the same port as the PS3, just a little bit better in the hardware side of things.
cool port selection to be able to basically choose on this particular device. And once again, it was actually a very cool thing going on with this particular console was that you had a good amount of ports on it. They didn't give us some weird proprietary port that we needed to use on a PSP or something. So that was something that was really cool with this particular console. And I would still say on the exterior, it still looks fairly good. There really isn't that much to complain about here on the exterior of this console. Now, the controller is
Yeah, looking at this, it I never had the PS4, by the way. Confession time. I had a few friends who had PlayStation 4s that I would go around their places to play, but like this must be annoying to clean. I know it's a design element, and I think these are buttons to press on and eject a button, but trying to clean underneath this must be a nightmare. So it's a good design, but that must make it annoying to clean in these nooks and tight areas. But yeah, let's continue.
another interesting thing going on here because I personally did like the controller, but it was a very interesting choice from Sony here because just like many other console goers at the time, they did actually throw in kind of a gimmick for this particular console. So on the front of this console or on this controller, you did have that
Yes.
touchpad little thing that came up there. So this was something that was very
Yeah, this was not a fail, but a lot of games that were created did not utilize this feature. So this controller is a slight upgrade over the DualShock 2 controller, so that's a little bit better. It's wireless, USB-C. It's so much better than the PlayStation 2 controller. But yeah, having this in there were some games where you could kind of use it, but because the PlayStation like platform was built very well, if you as a programmer wanted to, let's say instead of making FIFA 14, you're making FIFA 18, right? Trying to integrate new controls is difficult. The issue is that the Xbox controller and the PlayStation controller meant that if a games creator wanted to program controls, he can just map buttons differently because the same buttons are on the Xbox and the same are on the PlayStation. Adding a new surface means that they have to then recreate the entire game from scratch just for the PlayStation. What means that they have to now change how you control certain features of the game based upon the controller. So most games creators just didn't do that because if you're making a game for Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, it's like they're all similar controls. So adding a new surface or a new button, it wasn't a big hit, and most games did not use that.
Funny because personally for me, I don't know if it was necessarily like the biggest deal in the world of having this type of setup or having this like I guess like digital touchpad that you had, but it was still a nice thing to have. And I for one, like if you're going to go and buy some sort of console, it's always nice to have for them to throw in a little bit more extra, even if it's a gimmick. So with this type of device and this type of console, what you were basically getting was with this type of controller, you're getting that touchpad which allowed you to kind of maneuver around certain things.
Oh yeah, and one other thing is this console would vibrate like a lot. There were certain games, racing games, or even like fighting games where you would feel the controller in your hand vibrated. I remember in FIFA, if it hit the goalpost, you would actually feel the controller like just vibrate in your hand, and it's like, oh, and it's so loud. This is a mic and a speaker, but yeah, you could hear a lot through that. So they definitely upgraded this. But just this section is one where it's like it's a gimmick, but it doesn't remove from the experience. But yeah, can't fault that.
And I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it was funny. I never really used it at all, but it was still a cool thing to have. And I actually did like the controller a lot. This controller did have the micro USB port, which was actually very cool. At the time, it was like fairly recent of a controller port, and this is one of the biggest assets here because there's not really a lot of different ways of playing a PlayStation. That actually puts this type of console in like so much of a lead in so many different ways. So I look at a console like the PlayStation.
Yeah, same, literally same port, same plug. You can actually plug the PS3 power connector into the PS4, so they didn't really change that much in terms of peripherals. But hey,
4, and I still think this thing has a little bit two
let's
other
finish this up.
PlayStations that Sony made. So they made the PlayStation 4 Slim and they made the PlayStation 4 Pro. Both of those consoles were overall better consoles than the original PlayStation 4. So if you were wanting to buy the PlayStation, in general, like a
Yeah, the PS4 Pro was one of the best that came out. But they all play the same games. I guess the question is it worth you guys buying the PS4? It's a simple yes, actually, because there's still quite a lot of games that are out there for PlayStation 4, and oftentimes new releases are still available on PS4. Yes, PS5 is the main console right now, but it's when it first came out, the price was through the roof. So the PS4 is worth getting. Um, you will get a lot of games with it, a lot of newer AAA games with it, so you can't really fault that. But anyway, I don't like the micro USB, but USB-C wasn't the main thing back then. It was mainly on the high end things that you could find USB-C. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Buy this. Peace.